Good morning. How are you doing? It is currently the first Friday in February 2026, which makes it February 6th, I believe. Um, and I'm going to plant up some cannas. I have some rhizome bits. I also have a big plant in the other room that I'm going to drag out and cut back and set out here where it gets a lot more light and hopefully grow it on. Hang on, I'm going to go grab it. Just a second. It's in the other room. Let me shut this door. I'm going to grab my cardboard. So, I have a sheet of cardboard it sits on to protect the floor. But now that I'll put some water on it, I'll have to put probably plastic underneath of it or a drainage tray, or I've got a boot tray, so I'll set it on top of that. Okay, so let's do this. Let me just say, okay, normally at the end of the season, folks usually cut these back and hang. Let me show you a different one. I have a couple of these. Let me see. Here we go. Okay. In the fall, right, I lifted a bunch of them and cut them back. This is a, can you see this? Let me move this camera down so you can see this better. Excuse me. So here's a rhizome root, and you can see where I've cut back the growth. I don't know, can you see that? That's hard to tell. I'm gonna end up getting dirt all over the floor. That's all right, that's what brooms are for. So this I'll dig out. Look at that, that's nice. You see that? This little nodule here? This we want to plant up in some fresh soil and give it some water and some heat, and it'll come back alive. So, but for now, let me set that down. I'm gonna leave this one in its pot where it's at, and I'm just gonna cut it back and put it in the light and the sun or the heat. You know, the house is as warm as it is, so it'll start to come back. So like even all this, I'm gonna cut all this off, okay? And I'm pretty sure my secateurs is in the shed, so I'm just gonna use my trusty dagger, okay? Get in here. See, I just cut it off. I'm gonna hang on to that and throw it in the compost bin. Did I tell you it's going to get to like 53 or 4 degrees today? That's, I mean, like I shouldn't complain because that's a beautiful day, but also it's a little too warm for this time of year. You know what I mean? I just heard a weird little noise. We got tree leaves in here from the cottonwoods. I'm gonna leave this one here. That's a new growth. Can you see that? I mean, it's tiny. Okay. Now, normally, the better idea would be to dump it out. Oh, it's very dry. It's starting to pull away from the pot. Dump it out and add some new fresh compost to this, but it's still too cold, right? I can't take it outside and dump it out there. It's still too cold. So I'm just gonna leave it in here for now. Let me grab a tray. Okay, here's my tray. I'm just gonna set it right here off to the side. Here, I'll show you. He's just kind of, can you see that? I'm gonna set it right there. Yeah, okay. Set him right here. Let's give him some water. Let's see what I have now. Here we go. All right, wake up, buddy. Time to put on your makeup. You wanted to. Okay, there. So that one's done. That was easy, right? Okay. Let's do some of these smaller ones. I should have a box to catch my dirt. Let me look, see if I have something. I don't have anything. Oh wait, yeah, I do. Here. Okay. And my grit, a box. Okay, set this right here. Come here, can you see this? I'm gonna kind of bend over and do this. Okay, or crouch actually. Here we go. So, inside of here, I'll take it out of the pot. Yep. Oh, look at that. Okay. This is good. This is good. I'm gonna get dirt everywhere trying to show you this, but can you see here all the nodules? Those are good and strong and healthy. That's what we're after. This is the life part of it. So I'm gonna try and get as much of this old soil off of here. And I'm gonna tear away some of these old roots, that's fine. It'll stimulate growth. Oh, I can't bend over like that, sorry. I need a scissor. I need a scissor. I can throw this in the compost heap too when I'm done with it. The soil, the box, the roots that I'm trimming, you know, it's good for it. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. I don't know if I should bring you closer. Do you need to see what I'm doing here? Hear all the grit under my feet? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. See that? That's nice. That's what we're after. Now this one I had in the pot in my laundry room. So it's basically dark. There is some light there from the window outside, but it barely gets it. Besides that, I had it like on the other side of the dryer, so it didn't get any light. You know what I mean? I do have one in there that's sprouting that has some green on it, but we'll end up pulling it out and cutting it back anyway. Oh, this is not the most ergonomic position I'm in, right? Plus, hang on, a little warm. Yeah. Oh, my water ran out the bottom of that can I just watered, which is fine. The soil is very dry. I didn't water it. I just drug it in the house and set it in the dark and ignored it. Oh, it might be a little early. Is there such a thing as too early for cannas? I mean, they'll start moving and just get bigger, you know, given the time. Oops, geez. Anyway, I'm just trying to like scrub the soil away from the rhizomes here. So that they look more like what you get, you know, if you go and buy bare roots in the store here in a month or so. This is what they look like. This is what you'll get in the package. And you just want to put that in the ground or in some soil, right? Cover it about an inch, you know, kind of a shallow planting. Not, the rhizomes don't need to be exposed above ground. You can bury them, but they don't need to be super deep. So, what do we got here? Here we go. You know, I could almost cut this one in half and make two. Make some room here. Now, I do have a heat mat. Let me show you some. So, I don't know if you're new here. A few weeks ago, I planted some lettuce in my makeshift ice cream pail. I drilled some holes in it. That's my pathetic looking lettuce. But you know what? I planted that for myself just to grow something. So I'm okay with it. It's fine. It's still edible. I could eat it. Also, I planted, I don't know, 5 jalapeno seeds. I have 1. But he's coming along. He's doing really well. So in any case, my point being, I'll be able to plant these in a small enough pot and stick them in that. Can you see my little hot box makeshift right there? There's a heat mat in this box and my lights. And so I'll put a little container with my roots in there so they heat up. Because that's really what gets a canna going, is the soil temperature. So they like it warm. Oh, sorry. Here's one that's kind of rotten and done. All right, we'll take him off. There we go. That's better. I can see what I'm looking at here. It's a pretty decent sized clump. Where does this one stop and where does this one end? Okay. I don't know, should I just do the whole, I don't think I have a pot big enough. Well, I mean, I could put it back in the pot it was in, but then it won't really fit in my little thing. I'd rather use like a little, what are those, a pint? They're not gallon pots. Come off, there you go, okay. Now we've got more than one here to deal with. Okay. All these little roots, that's fine. Honestly, you could probably cut it all the way to the rhizome. That's with the way they look when they come out of the package. So. Okay, let's see if I have a container. 1 second. Container, it's got a lot of holes, so I'm going to stick it in something so it doesn't fall out of the bottom there. If I had some Crocs, just to sort of plug those up a little bit, that would be cool, but do I have any around here, or are they all in the shed? Let me look. Yeah, I think they're all in the shed. So I'm just gonna make do for now. Okay, I have my soil here in the house, in a bucket, so it doesn't freeze, and it's still somewhat room temperature, and I can use it. You come here. Yeah, you can still see, okay. Is that even gonna fit in here? Let's find out. Like if I take this and I put this in here, that'll fit. Okay, it's a little snug, but it's okay. We're just waking it up for now. In a couple months' time, I'll put it out in a bigger planter outside. You know what I mean? I'll plant it out somewhere. Okay. So, fresh compost. It's store-bought, just a generic bag of potting soil, like, so I could use it in the house, I could use it outside, I could, you know what I mean? It's fine. It's not Koya, you know, it's not quite like an in-house pot, like it's a, here, I'll show you. You know, and it's still kind of wet, but it's nice and dark. It's good soil. Okay. This one. Now here's the thing. You can see where that was a stem, right? So the leaf was going to shoot up like this. So I want to plant all of this down. The truth is, even if you ended up planting it sideways or upside down, the plant will figure it out. It'll still, you know, the green will still come up. Do you know what I mean? It'll face the right way. You don't have to worry too much about it, I guess is my point. Ah, is this one deep enough? Just barely. Okay, that'll work. I'm gonna stick it in there. Heat and water. If you're outside, and it's really warm out, you can plant a canna in a pond. They will take a lot of water, but if you overwater them in a cold space, they're not gonna like that. They don't like cold and wet, okay? So you don't want them to sit in the water, I guess is my point, even though you can plant them in a pond, you know what I mean? They're pretty hardy though, man. They can withstand a bit of drought, you know, being dried out. They don't, I mean, obviously, I didn't water them all winter. They're still fine. It's how they do. It's their life cycle, right? Okay. Cover that up. Shake it up a little bit. Make sure all that soil ends up in the air spaces, you know? So it's in there, okay? I'm also going to top this off with a bit of my grit here. I do that for a couple of reasons. One, it looks nice. Two, it helps with drainage. You know how sometimes the soil will dry out, and then if you water it, the water just sits on top. So the grit on the top, or the gravel, or the stones, or the whatever the hell you want to call it, helps the water sort of just seep in there. Also, when it gets really, really hot outside and dry, it creates a bit of a moisture barrier so that, one more, so that if I'm watering, right, all my water isn't going to evaporate out of the top here and disappear on me. So a couple different reasons. Also, if you're in the house, sometimes it helps when you have to top water because of the fungal gnats. They like to lay their critters, their eggs, on the top 1 inch of wet soil. So you can bottom water and avoid the 1 inch of top, you know, soil altogether. You can also try and just make it more difficult for them to get in and out of there, I guess. You know what I mean? Like the pebbles are dry, or they will be, even though it's not like 1 inch of pebble, but you get my point, okay? Okay. So I'm gonna stick him in the heat. Oh, he needs some water first. I don't want to water him in my box. So I'm gonna set him right here. And where's my jug? Here it is. You see that? Yeah, you can. Okay, a little bit of water. Well, a little bit more than a little bit, right? We're gonna give him a good drink. Okay. Once that's done draining off, then I'm gonna stick him in the heat, warm him up. So I have taken a heat mat in the past and just sort of wrapped it around the sides, but I don't think I'll need to do that. I'm sure it'll get colder around here. You know, I know towards the end of February, as far as I could see, the temp was still in the 20s, which is normal. That's more normal, right? So, but I don't think it's gonna get super, super cold again, like 10 or 20 below. So the cold from the windows, or, you know, I'm not fighting the cold, excuse me, quite as much as I would be. You know what I mean? I can rely on the temp is just going to get warmer every day. So the days will get longer and spring will come again. Anyway, that's the job done. Heck, I did 2 of them. That was 20 minutes. You can too. You have a good day.